Politics is the name. Politicians play that game. Put family against each other. A way to access their power. When election bell ring, families start fighting. Parents not talk to children. Brother and sister warring. Husband and wife split bed. Grandma hold she head. Politician make no move to quell the family feud, but holding true to form will exacerbate the storm. Intent on division, promote family destruction. But we should know we are one big family.
Family, 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 family.
Everyone must remember, blood is thicker than water.
Family, 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 family.
Sometimes it would be better if we break bread together.
Family, 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 family.
A politician's first order is forget you when they're in power. Don't mind who set the bait, we got to get it straight. We are one big family.
Get along, get along.
Valty was my good partner, a big time labor supporter. Because I'm supporting Pam, he say I'm a worthless man, and he not go play my song. Cause I'm no calypsonian. It's politics that make him so rude, influencing his attitude. Everyone has a voice and free to express their choice. Respect and understanding make a difference in everything. We can't let politicians determine our every action. For when the crap hit the fan, you can't find politician, but look around and you will find your family.
Family, 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 family.
Get alive, get alive.
Everyone must remember, blood is thicker than water.
Family, 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 family.
Sometimes it would be better if we break bread together.
Family, 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 family.
A politician's first order is forget you when they're in power. Don't mind who set the bait, we got to get it straight. We are one big family.
Get along, get along.
Clear Tweed was a village man who helped everyone he can. Any saddler's disturbance turned his truck into ambulance. He decided he go run for Pam. Suddenly he's saddler's villain. But my advice to saddler's people, don't bite the hands that feed you. When Tweed lost the election and was no more politician, continue doing good deeds, helping villagers with their needs. Dougie found he was right and sought him out for advice. Then the good Lord called him home. Now the whole of Saddlers are mourn. Now they know they lost a good family.
Family, 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 family.
Everyone must remember, blood is thicker than water.
Family, 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 family.
Sometimes it would be better if we break bread together.
Family, 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 family.
A politician's first order is forget you when they're in power. Don't mind who set the bait, we got to get it straight. We are one big family.
Good evening. It's a lovely Thursday evening here in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. I'm DJ Mauricio and I'm coming to you live and direct from my bunker. Yes, I'm coming to here with a special broadcast this evening, continuing the conversation here in our beloved Federation. And that song was the man himself, the man New York Joe. In better times, when we communicated from a musical standpoint, that was a track that I sat in the studio and look at him take several takes to record it. As we know, he's not no real calypsonian. He just talking things them and George's put some nice music behind it. Lovely track as it is. Family. And if you listen to the lyric of his song, you would realize his political motives and who he supports and stuff like that. But as a result of the team unity being elected in 2015, and he asked me to support them in furthering their winnings, and I refused to do that. I became the enemy of the state, and since then, all I got from this gentleman is nothing but attacks after attacks. But my good people, I'm not here for New York this evening. I'm here to speak to you, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, in more pressing issues that we need to address and just ignore all of those smoke screen and let's deal with the issue at hand. The issue at hand is that we have to save our beloved Federation. So I'm going to just drop a track here, a clip, for those of you who may be just scrolling the web and running to us and wondering what this program is all about. Let's take a listen to this.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Mauricio's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Mauricio, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Log on.
You heard it right. Yes, I'm here each and every Wednesday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and we do our thing in very good style, informing the nation about the situation around. But we're here for a special broadcast this evening. So let me take a quick trip across to the sister island there, Nevis, and see if I can hear from my boy, Brother Cabo, over there in the Fountain area.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treats. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Punji and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over, food all over, you got the food all over.
Yes, my brother Cabo.
Yes.
My brother Cabo has the food all over there and is ready to accommodate you with all of your needs for goat water, fungi and fish and whatever the means may be. Now let's take a quick listen to Sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers.
Girl, Sandra, you know where you can find nice, fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
For sure, you don't want nothing better than that, and just that sister call me know that. DJ Maurice sent you. Now let's take a quick listen to my boy there, Brother Daniel, about some business strategies there in Nevis.
Welcome to Strategies for Business Success, right here on 2020visionradio.com and on 102.1 FM with business development advocate Daniel Arthurton. Each week, Danny will build on a foundation to ensure your success in business. Being in business can be daunting, and Strategies for Business Success can help you avoid the pitfalls. Join Danny right here on 2020visionradio.com, on 102.1 FM, and on your other social media platforms every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. That's right, Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. The time and place for your business dreams to come true.
Yes, thanks to hear it from the boy Danny. And my good people, this evening I'm here courtesy of the Island Purified Water team, the best water people there, Main Street, Newton Ground, St. Kitts. I want to big up my boy there, Brother Scatter, man, Mr. Powell and team there that taking care of the folks. Remember to support businesses that support you. And at the end of the day, everything will be nice and lovely and airy. So make sure you support those businesses. My good people, as I said, I'm here for a special feature this evening. And I'm going to drop a couple more tracks just before I bring in my guests. But this next track is a second track by the man New York Joe. This one is called Labormatics. This when he do his own thing, they're talking about the chimpanzee here in number 6 and how labor count their things them. So let's take a listen to this one by New York Joe.
+1 = 11, then 2 + 2 is 22.
Labormatics, 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 Labormatics.
National debt is high like hell. Still they tell you, country doing well.
Labormatics, 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 Labormatics.
Election is coming. They think about winning 500 acres, give 5,000 people. When you divide that, you get 0.10. Only thing you can build is a hog pen.
Labormatics, 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 Labormatics.
In House Assembly, budgeting money, big presentation. Sean start to laugh. Sean say you missing 40 million. He start to ball. I blame technician.
Labormatics, 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 Labormatics.
To the Lord.
If pamper me like labor pay this and that, I would make sure get rid of the labor rat under the water.
Labormatics, Labormatics, Labormatics.
We gonna rename Sandy Point, Sean City. So tell labor, don't try test way.
Labormatics, 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 Labormatics.
A Rasta man track to the mountain from the city, squat on an acre to plant tampi. A white man approach him, angry as can be, say he just bought the land from the chimpanzee.
Labormatics, 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 Labormatics.
$1 million to Scotland Yard for a report on Uncle Billy. But a man in prison said nothing talk so. He know the story, but about Uncle Billy.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
They say Calypsonian protesting because the committee tell them what to sing.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
You can't sing Pandom, you can't sing Pan Ricky, you can't touch Sleepy, but they got all the money.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
A minister say, a PAM official deal with a young girl and he gon' prosecute, but he changed his mind, withdraw the case because he bling bling the young girl too.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
Labour leader about to retire, but the deputy cannot travel. Timothy say he's in charge. Nigel say, boy go ahead.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
They cut electricity from poor people who can't afford to pay their bill.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
But the Labour bigwig who can afford it allowed to run with electric money.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
Water rate, that gone up high. Electric rate, that still sky high. Real estate tax, that gone up too. But with salary, under we shoe.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
The tower crumble, writing on the wall. When my big friend Shiverton boycott Independence Ball. Mission in shambles, big free for all. When the man in power can't make decisions at all.
Les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex, les Bamatex.
Don't test me. Aye. Should have paid me not to sing this.
Yes, my good people. As you can see, it's like deja vu all over again because these are conversations that the New York Joe and I have had over the years. And I had to be battling with him, supporting and defending the Labour Party, though I was not into the politics. And these are the people now that they're using, these mercenaries, to come after, guess what? The DJ that represents them. As you can listen to the lyrics in the song, he hitting everybody in the Labour Party. Ricky Skerritt, Sam Conda, Timothy Dwyer. He called Denzel Douglas a chimpanzee. These are the kind of people that I had to be defending the Labour Party against. But now, the inexperienced Prime Minister, I guess gladdy and happy that people come smiling with him, telling him things. So he go out there and entertain their nonsense. But as the good book say, time longer than twine. They're going to get what they got coming. They're going to get what they got coming. And it didn't stop there, There's another song. I don't know if they remember this one. This one is called Dougie Mash It Up by the same New York Joe.
Papa Bradshaw built a chapter and I learned and escaped it. Then he passed on, leave it to Southwell. Southwell dead and then fit to leak. Kennedy Simmons, take it from Lemore, and a brand new nation was born. Construction started to build the nation, and it lasts for 15 years. Then a dictator named Dougie take it over like charity. Said he not gonna close the industry, not over his dead body. Dougie mash it up, 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 Dougie mash it up. Sugar industry closed and it's still alive. Rich people from America get the sugar land for free, while the labor, big supporter, born blind and cannot see. Electric surcharge, unemployment, criminals them gone spree. Then they tell me, don't call the radio to look like a puppy show. Then a propagandist named Erasmus tells this, don't play my son. I said if you're for democracy, kindly play this song for we. Dougie mash it up, 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 Dougie mash it up. All of them preach democracy, but they ban all the song with the message on I said. Pure frustration in the nation, policemen and all get sick. Run to Dougie, make more money. Dougie tell them run way quick. Like the big one and Astafan, they both are frustrated. One went to college, one have street knowledge. They both on the same page, but they black and white and they different. People know they share the same. Big one take is on the radio, while Astafan news a memo. Dougie mash it up, 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 Dougie mash it up.
Yeah. Share the love,
These
share
man
the love.
gonna know how we 2/4 instead of 5. King this and that, back and belly rat. Complain to Papa Bradshaw. He said bout mash up, then bout make up, even voices and hard talk. On the talk show, hear them hollow, well Reggie and Carl Brown. Rock can't take it in the bull ring. Let me see if they crown him king. Ricky Scary tell all the artists how to sing their calypso. Do not sing about politician, but I sing from inspiration. Dougie mash it up, 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 Dougie mash it up.
Share the love, share the love.
Dougie mash it up, 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 Dougie mash it up.
Yes, that's 3 songs by the New York Joe. Recorded specially going after the Labour Party and the candidates. You guys would have heard that he said something about Ricky Skerritt and giving me money towards the Labour Day affair. Now you hear him cussing off Ricky Skerritt in the song. Says Skerritt mash up the Calypso show. Now, I do not know if many of you really understood what I said in regards to that contribution from the St. Kitts government to the Labour Day affair. So let me, since I'm waiting for my guests, let me just remind you on that for the benefit of those of you who might not have heard it earlier. DJ Marisha has been promoting St. Kitts on his own for several years. And when Dwyer Astafan got into the government and became Minister of Tourism, I approached him about a project. The project was very simple. Whichever band win the road match, the government will provide airlift to New York. Why that was so simple to negotiate is because back in them days, there was not direct flight and whatever coming in as yet. They just started coming on stream. And there was a situation where the government had to guarantee X amount of seats to the plane, to the airline. And if those seats are empty, the government still have to pay for those seats. So it was very easy for them to use the opportunity and fill those seats with the band members. So there was a situation where the band that won the road match, the arrangement were they get the tickets from tourism department via American Airlines. Once they get to New York, the band and myself as the promoter, we will do events, create events to raise funding, to pay for housing, for their per diems in terms of lunch, dinner, breakfast, such and such, and the band pay itself from those events. What happened in one of the events is that a particular band, they know who they are, but for the benefit of not creating any hysteria this evening, I will leave the band name out of it. But there was an arrangement that was made. The band did get the tickets. The band did come to New York, but that band made arrangement with a different individual to myself to stay somewhere, and they did all the events on their own. So the only thing they had to do with me was to be on the road for Labor Day. All the monies they made in New York is on them and that person. That person is now one of the mercenary that today I understand going around chatting shit. But that's all right. I'm good. Now, that band, when the time came, a couple days before Labor Day, during the week of Labor Day, because you guys know, when it comes to Labor Day is the first Monday in September. Whatever date it is, Labor Day is the first Monday. So the weekend prior is when we do all of our final stuff and things like that. Get ready to go on the road. You start pack a truck on Eastern Parkway for Labor Day from a Thursday evening. There's so many speakers to pack on a 48-foot trailer. And wires to run, it takes a lot of hours, many days with crew to set up those things. It's not an easy job. To put a float on the parkway for Labor Day, the minimum cost is about 50 grand. The arrangement I made with tourism on the Ricky Skerrit, it was a very simple arrangement. I presented the overall cost, 50 grand. Ricky said he can approve 20 grand, 20,000. Now, that 20,000 that Ricky approved, and the books in St. Kitts, the record might reflect that 20,000 was given to the Labor Day affair by DJ Marisha. But the arrangement that I made with Ricky in his office, because Ricky invited me to his office, his nephew Kevy Kev was there, who is a DJ in Florida. Ricky explained to me the money going to split two ways. 20,000 is going to go to the tourism office in New York, which at the time controlled by a gentleman by the name of Robert Kelly. Robert Kelly is now dead. Christine Walwyn should know about that because she was a part of that office as well. The money, 5,000 to Kevy Kev, 15,000 to the Labor Day project. Now, keep in mind, while this gentleman is trying to accuse me of cannot account for the 20,000, he said, but in reality, it's only 15,000 went towards the Labor Day event. No cash ever came into the hand of DJ Marisha. The money went straight from tourism to the vendors. The people that the truck, the tractor, and the sound system come from, they got to be paid. The money went straight to them. No money came to the DJ. And I'll tell you something, how these governments are nasty and dirty. This ain't nothing new. This was under the Denzel Douglas Labor administration. Ricky was the Minister of Tourism. And I hold him today as a good friend. Still, I don't hold nothing against him. Though he might have handled the situation wrong, I never hold it against him. I dealt with it professionally. What really happened is there was a couple of bands in New York and New Jersey, and they're still there. I reached out to them and asked them to participate in some fundraisers to put St. Kitts and Nevis on the Parkway. They all agreed to do it. As things start moving, they each called me and said, listen, this is not fair. We got our band here in New York and we must raise money to go put another band on the Parkway. We're not doing that. So they all pulled out on me. I'm the chairman of the committee dealing with this. The man said he's vice president. There was no vice president business. Naomi Ward-Butcher was put involved there because she worked at the mission. And the government wanted someone from the mission to be a part of the event to make sure everything is going according to plan and feedback to them. That is how they end up a part of the committee. This man have never been a vice president of my organization. Okay? So the situation is that the day of the event, one of the bands apparently had an event at Cholo's Bakery and White Plains Road, and it wasn't going to last long. That individual, the leader of that band, called me and said to me that they're going to be in the Bronx, they're going to play on that event, they're not going to last long, so they could still come and contribute to the event. No money involved. I said, if you're going to come and contribute your service, that's fine. And the band did show up at the event there on 3rd Avenue. Now, against my better judgment, I allowed them to go and play. When the band finished playing their hour skit, the gentleman came to me and said that if I can give him $100, that he could pay the vocalist, the girl that lives in Brooklyn. I said, big man, you spoke to me that you're coming to contribute in the fundraiser. No money was discussed. You want me to now come and give you $100 for whatever. I don't mind doing that, but let me speak to the committee. The reality, when I told him that, I would have even gone into my pocket and give it to him, but it's just principle. I wanted to do things the right way. While I'm standing on the sidewalk on the outside, I see this guy who was walking with a stick. His feet was damaged or whatever. Running down the sidewalk with the pants falling down without the stick. He dropped the stick. Then Bernie Calendar, a lady who is from the Old Road area by way of Montserrat, who has always been a part of any activities I was doing, she would come and do her stuff. She was at the door collecting the money. She came and she said, Marisha, and she called the name of the person, and he put his money in the box and take out and run. So I tell her, don't run behind him, call the police. She called the police, and the police came and did whatever. And the matter ended up as a legal matter. His family and friends lobby Ricky and tried to get me to drop the matter. And I decided not to. I was going to make him an example. Up until today, Ricky have not come and spoke to me about that situation. Ricky came to New York after that. I've been in St. Kitts for several times. We never discussed it, and I never held it against him, even though he handled the situation wrong. But what Ricky them did, instead of letting the money go to the vendors as agreed, they stopped paying the money to the people. So naturally, I had to get an attorney to write to the tourism department. And they did. And the money was paid to the vendor. The event was successful. The St. Kitts people was happy for the representation. And that is where that part ended. So I would ask Mr. Jody Barber, if you're trying to malign the DJ's name, there's recourses that I can take for many of you. I think you all know that. But I am not going to get into that kind of stuff because I am focused on what's taking place here in St. Kitts. Right now, I am representing the people of St. Kitts. I am speaking on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I will not be detracted from what I am doing, because we need to fix these problems with St. Kitts and Nevis. I have my guest online. Brother Benta, could you tap the screen, open your mic, please? Good evening. Welcome back to the Mauritia Experience. I am going to bring you in to continue the conversation from last night. But before we do that, I want to drop a clip here. And this clip is from November 6th, following that famous meeting we had at the Prime Minister's office. So let me just drop the clip first, and then we could go back to that conversation, because people want to play smart. And it's not about the smartness around me, because they got smart everything and nothing smart show up yet. No smart house, no smart hospital, and none of them smart. So let me drop this clip and I'll come right back to you. A former Prime Minister punching week after week after week. You hear people chanting, we want him back. You can't vex with them. Because if the people give you an opportunity, Mr. Prime Minister, to do the right thing and take us on the right path, and we hear all of these things about fake marriages, we campaign on boundary change. We hear about how much millions missing from Development Bank, amongst God knows what else. Those pillars of good governance and everything else that we campaign on, the people paying attention. The people are paying attention. The Ministry of Health have a responsibility to respond to the family of Mr. Edwards. They have email addresses. They don't have to mail any letters. Acknowledge receipt of these letters and what you guys are doing. This is not about this just one home in Sadlers. This is about fixing a health system throughout the Federation that should have been done years ago. But it looked like the corruption and the money from the CBI passport and whatever is money that some of them was putting in the overseas account was more important than taking care of the people business. Well, DJ Mauritia was not activated before, you know. I was not activated for this role. But since the former Prime Minister decided to lock me down in quarantine, and this program was born, and we are now in a different era with a change of government, well, what I was talking about that was wrong under the previous administration, if it was wrong then, it got to be wrong today. So I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to just shut up because somebody figure, well, oh, you're cussing the Prime Minister. No, I'm not cussing Prime Minister. I'm not cussing government. I've said it time and time again. If it's one supporter the Prime Minister going to be left with at the end of the day, is this young man here. Unless he gives me reason to do differently. So far, I can say to you, if it's one individual the Prime Minister will be left with to be his support, is this young man. But there's too much nonsense going on that need to be addressed. So these actors that you have acting, let them do their work. These functionaries that you have there are either not functioning, are functioning for their own benefit and their friends' benefit. Do something about it, because you will be held accountable for the action, Mr. Prime Minister. The Labour government will be held accountable for the actions. DJ Mauritia is not a spin bowler. I love cricket, but I bowl medium pace. You understand? I am at my last. When I say last, I am at my last with some of the bullshit that is going on. A few weeks ago, I came across some external information. My ears are always at the ground, always cocking to see what's going on when it comes to this good country and what may affect our Prime Minister and his team. And I came across some news that was very mind-boggling for me. Because when the individual said to me, I understand you love your Prime Minister. I understand you love your country. But what happens if I tell you your Prime Minister is corrupt and his corruptive actions will be affecting the country and the people of St. Kitts Nevis? I say, well, if you can prove this, bring it on. Because if it's one thing I'm going to stand for, is to campaign to get rid of corruption and welcome it under a new administration, because I support them. I try reaching out to the Prime Minister on numerous occasions, without luck. I try reaching out to the AG without luck. The gentleman on screen is one of the individuals that I employed to look into some matters for me. And he may not be able to go into details tonight. So I'm not going to ask him to go into details. He could speak for himself and what he can speak on. But I'm going to speak on what I know and how I feel about the situation. After weeks of trying to get an audience with the Prime Minister, I finally got an audience with the Prime Minister last Friday evening. I'm not going to get into everybody who was in that meeting. But what I can say to you, good citizens, what I heard and what I know for a fact that transpired, that have this lovely federation caught up in all kind of mess by individual that was elected to take care of this country and represent us. I have a problem with it. When I sat in that room and listened to the conversation, I look left and I look right. I look up to the sky and I look down to try and process what I'm hearing. And there's a saying, they said, when school children talk, they might not bring the full story, but something in there is true. Well, I know in this conversation, something in there is true. And I would say this, I am quite satisfied with the Prime Minister's approach to the situation after he heard what he heard. I support the Prime Minister unless something else or other stuff comes out to change my mind. I am in full agreement with the Prime Minister and his approach to this whole situation. Because you see, prior prime ministers are prior ministers of government. Their action did some harm to our beloved federation. And I want to shout out MSR Media, I really want to shout out MSR Media. And I want to identify the gentleman. I don't know if I can pronounce his name properly, but Mr. Felipe Martinez, I want to thank you on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. For months and maybe years, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis have been asking about our CBI, the Citizen by Investment Program. We also was asking about the sugar money. Can't get no straight answers. People who was in the farmer administration, the farmer prime minister,
the former ambassador to the United Nations. They said they had access to how much passport application or units were sold, but they refused to give the people the information. They want Prime Minister Jew to do it. And it was a back and forth and a ring and roll to get some responses from that. But with this RICO case that was filed in the US by the MSR, we are now in possession of some information that brings some light to where we are. And my people for St. Kitts and Nevis, we're not in any good place here. You know? We're in a very bad place at this moment because of the actions of certain people. And let's not lose sight that since the government changed, you know, Prime Minister just signed off on some of those, whether citizenship, certificates, units, whatever they want to call them. Prime Minister Jew, I understand, sign off on some. So Prime Minister Jew and the AG might be right up in the car as well. And that's what my concerns was about last week when I heard the conversation on the wire, that I need to know that our Prime Minister understands what is happening externally and that he prepare himself for whatever to come. Because something coming, my good people. Something is coming. I cannot tell you what is coming, but something is coming. I think it's about a day or two ago, a document came into me on my phone telling me that the MSR media won another step of a case. The courts of New York now gave permission or gave an order for the bank accounts of some people, operatives of St. Kitts Nevis, including former prime ministers, to release their bank accounts to MSR Media. It get deeper, it get dirtier. And I bring this information to you, my good citizens, because I'm not going to bring all the information that I have. I just want to give you all the information that I can give to the general public without creating a problem for our beloved federation, so that nobody could say later, well, Marisha did not say this before. But if Marisha had this information before, why didn't he say anything? No. What I got, I'm going to give it to you now. It is up to Prime Minister Joe and his team to speak to the Federation, not DJ Marisha. But I was a part of a meeting that was very, very serious. I thank the Prime Minister and his team for taking the call and giving us the audience. Big Lies have a saying, things not going well. Well, DJ Marisha going to tell you all tonight, all is not well. St. Kitts Nevis, from my understanding, is not being sued by MSR. From what I understand, MSR is not demanding any monies from the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. MSR want the compensation though. The idea for this case to be filed is because MSR, somewhere along the line, felt that they was wronged in some way and they want to recoup their losses. So, in my view, I could be wrong. What MSI is asking for from whom could be looked at as a settlement. It could be looked at as a shakedown. It could be looked at as anything, because it is not like they file a case and not looking for anything at the end of the day. MSR, with this RICO case, is looking for some kind of revenue for their loss. And I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm not going to go any deeper. Brother Benter, you can open your mic. Do you remember that podcast on November 6th of 2024?
Sure, do. Let me introduce myself again because I want to clear, as there's some misnomers out there in my intro to this program. My name is Oakland Benta. I'm an ex-chief of police, an ex-senator of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and a ex-vice president of a telecommunication corporation, and an investigator, untouchable. So there's so many different things, but some of the people I have out there that's casting aspersions in so many different directions. I work very close with a lot of people. And with such, I'm here with you tonight, so let's see to get it right this time. Yes, I sure do remember that meeting on either late October or early November.
Exact date, November 6th. Exact date. Okay. There has been some questions and concern, and as I said in that clip on November 6th, I heard some stuff on the wire. I asked you to look into the matter for me. You did. I reached out to the Prime Minister that you can speak to him. He eventually accepted you coming in. We had a meeting at the Prime Minister's office. As I said back in that clip, I will not release who was in that meeting, because that meeting basically shouldn't have never happened, where we're concerned. But since the Prime Minister decided to speak about it, I had to speak about it. And that is where him and I butt heads. Because the lies that was told about that meeting, that somebody came there trying to shake him down for 40 to 100 million, it really left me in a very bad place. And Brother Benter, I met you through my cousin Kent Bernier for your guys' campaign for Governor and Governor of the Virgin Islands, Lieutenant Governor and Governor of the Virgin Islands. And to please Prime Minister Joe, and to make life easier on me that I can have a job in his ministry, God will not forgive me for that. So basically, I run around with this matter on my chest for the last few months because I didn't get a chance to speak with Prime Minister Joe. Back in, I think it was March, just before I went to the UK for my sister's funeral, I had the chance to speak with Prime Minister Joe, and I brought up the matter to him. And you know what is funny? Prime Minister Joe said to me that he know you and I are two good men and we mean well for the country. That's what he said to me after I finished speaking to him. But he's claiming that he heard. And if the Prime Minister was consistent with his message, we won't have this problem, you know. Because 1 minute, somebody came in to his office to shake him down for 40 to 100 million on behalf of MSR. And I understand on Monday at his round table, he's telling them he got it in his phone, in his WhatsApp. So which is it? Did somebody shake you down in a meeting that DJ Marisha was in? Or did somebody send you a WhatsApp asking you for 40 to 100 million? I would like to see the WhatsApp. So I was forced to post a post this week to try and clarify what my podcast was on May 6th was, and is still consistent. There was some conversation without my knowledge of the matter of the MSR situation and the government. You knew what conversation took place in the boardroom. I am here to support or correct you if you miss what happened. You were the man I asked to do me a favor to see what's going on with St. Kitts Nevis' name out there. You was the man that I asked to come and speak to the Prime Minister direct, because I don't want to be no middleman. I don't want to be no mistake about the information. You agreed to come. You made your presentation.
please tell the people of St. Kitts and Nevis what I asked you to do, what you did, and what transpired in that meeting. That's all I want from you.
Sure, and I'm going to be clear tonight because I know that through St. Kitts Nevis Rhythms, the Prime Minister's page for his campaign, and the gentleman who's handling the page, who's within the diaspora of the United States, and what was posted. And I'm going to go straight to your post, or the post of a text message. When you and I were on your program, you said to me that there's this gentleman who wants to speak to me, Mr. Felipe Martinez. And I asked of you several questions before I engaged. And before I engaged, I also, while accepting to assist, I made contact with some other people, not Martinez and not the government of St. Kitts and Nevis before I acted. Getting clearance to do so, I then proceeded and engaged. In sitting and having a discussion with Mr. Martinez, one of the key issues that came up was the entire process of the CBI program and his investments. And Mr. Martinez explained that where they want to go is nothing against the government or the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is more in the realm of what was done, how the CBI program, as far as how they came into play with the CBI program and all their investments, all of the employments, and all the assets that went with it, by bringing in celebrities, and of course, there's a payout to do all of that, and the contract they had. My directions was, because I am a Caribbean man, because I've walked St. Kitts before some of those guys that's now talking, right? I'm over 60 plus years old. I walked the grounds of St. Kitts before they were ever born. So understanding the kind of Caribbean dynamics and understand how fast things will go astray, I decided that I would be a mediator to bring closure to the attention of St. Kitts and Nevis outside of the diaspora in an arena that's taking this thing in another direction. I believe that big men could have sat and spoke and come together. Mr. Martinez, for the text that I see they running around with in his text, because him and I spoke before, was assuring to make sure that there's no discussion that says that MSR wants any money from the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's the text, the one that they're so happy and excited that there's a communication. There's a communication on both sides, not one. There's a communication with members here in St. Kitts and Nevis and other places. There's communication. It is called mediation, and coming to a forum where you settle things and you don't impugn or damage your country. That's what this was all about. However, the meeting was held. And as you sat in the meeting and you heard where we were going, there was no discussion that started for me about 1 cent. It was more on the side of explaining the CBI program and what is taking place and the danger to the United States of America with some of the things that has already been detected. That was a discussion with the Prime Minister. And I was explaining to him in a verbatim that these are some of the things that are being looked at, and the document speaks for itself, as there are so many arrests of individuals who came through St. Kitts under the CBI program who have been arrested for money laundering and many other things. The program is dynamic. And my approach to quell this whole matter between the Prime Minister, Harris, and Drew, with this investor, whatever was done, was one that would have brought some consolation to the people of St. Kitts for this program not to be labeled, not to be tarnished, and not to be placed in an order of corruption. That was pretty much the main course of the discussion in going in that direction. Remember, I said nothing at all about a penny, a cent, or a dime. None. But there was one person in there who kept being rude and interrupting him over speaking. And that was none other than the Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis. When I asked for the meeting, I asked that the Prime Minister would have his Attorney General in a meeting with us. That's an ask from this side. I asked. And while I did that, in having this discourse, and explaining to the Prime Minister as well, as we're talking about this issue, and that the MSR group have their attorney and their representative on island who is somewhere waiting, that they would be able to join once there is an open door for discussion. The other individual again became very rude and interrupted. And he asked, "What is the ask?" And I ignored him and continued speaking to the Prime Minister. And his thing was, "What is the ask? There must be an ask." And I said, based on the documents that I read, and all that there is for business and contract negotiation between the government of St. Kitts and MSR, I explained the areas of investments. Yeah? And I said in common sense and prudency, based on what's not before me or you, but before other areas, and I'm looking at it, right? There is a dollar figure that must be compensated to the individuals as well. The question of money came from the Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis, not from myself, nor from you, right? But I found it to be very alluding and alluding in so many ways for presentation. And I'm speaking here with you tonight because of what I was able to read, digest, and analyze along with myself and some others, to suggest that there was an attempt for a shakedown where I never mentioned a penny. To suggest there was an attempt to shake down when I mentioned discussion between parties. To mention there's an attempt for a shakedown on a matter that doesn't surround them specifically. When I say that, it is the territory or the nation or the federation who is now placed under the microscope. It's not just one person, it is a country. To dispel that ran into something else, and I'm very surprised that it did in listening to what I've been privy to the Prime Minister in the press conference and said, imagine a man come in my office and start to shake me down. Let's go to law. St. Kitts have law? I would think they have the laws on the books that speaks about extortion, right? And it falls under a code of St. Kitts and Nevis by law. The chief law enforcement, the chief legal authority of the country is in a meeting where the individual is telling the Prime Minister, as they so eloquently place it, a shakedown, and I was not arrested. I have some address for them tonight, for them to mail their documents to the Department of Justice for me, right? However, in understanding the dynamics because of what the discussion was about, and understanding why maybe this may have gone in another direction in some minds, or who might have been upset. My aim was, under the CBI program, what it was created as a forefront under the program, who was getting these documents and what some of these people bring to bear when it comes to the diaspora and the backyard of the United States as well. And that's where the premise of this whole discussion was. I don't know whether or not there was something else within the Prime Minister's head. I think the meeting was cordial as we separated. Never in my hindsight that I would have thought that this is where we would have gone. The Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis, though, I would suggest to him that he be that man. I will make myself available at any given time. Just prepare the warrant. I will come and I will do what I have to do administratively. However, because it is said under the fabric of what it is said, this is a leader of a country. He's not a child, a big man speaking with other men. A big man sitting understanding of the dialogue and discussion what it really was about. And to spew what they're spewing, creating AI, and I want to talk to St. Kitts and Nevis Rhythms has created this AI on behalf of the country, of the Prime Minister, and they put it out there and said, who is this guy and whatever have you. I come with tangible support for everything that I do. Straightforward and clean. The objective was to remove the tarnished name of St. Kitts and Nevis out of this whole case that was taking place because it didn't look good, it didn't sound good. And the CBI program, it is an innovative program for every citizen to be successful in your diaspora, to grow economically, infrastructurally, everything that's needed. That's why these programs are created. However, for what I know, is that the proceeds of the funding, as I explained then, as we spoke, the Prime Minister and I, was that it is alluded that funds are being moved in fashion that's not according to the CBI program. And of course, he was emphatically opposing that not under his administration and so forth. And in that meeting, while you sat there, I mean, you stood in solidarity with the Prime Minister, right? It was too far-fetched for what we were discussing. And I said, the irony behind this whole thing is that when you know something, because I've had to actually look at you to try to shut you down a little bit because you stood in solidarity with the Prime Minister while I was speaking. The irony behind this is as I introduced and I probed and provided information, probably any prudent person would understand, the AG was sitting there. There was not one moment that the AG said, in fact, what I was saying is erroneous, is not true. My main concern was the status of where the country's name was being placed under and is still under, and it has not been rectified because it left from one court to the other, to the other, to the other. All those things could have been avoided. However, like I said last night, it would have been because it was an internal matter between you and the government. But now that I see that it's one of those things that they're making something of something that doesn't exist with my name, then of course I had to speak to some other individuals, and I'm saying I'm going to provide some instructions of where to mail their correspondences to charge me. I will come to St. Kitts, but eludes me. Under the sections of law within St. Kitts that I was able to sit in a room with the Prime Minister, the most powerful man of the country, with his next, the most powerful man in law enforcement of the country, and try to establish a shakedown, pay me for this or else. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? When you have an individual, and I say, I know he's young, the Attorney General of the country, and he makes a statement, but then here comes this that follows that really takes everyone by surprise, including myself. We left that meeting, as the Prime Minister said, he had another meeting. It was a very cordial meeting, very cordial. Statesmanship, straight statesmanship. How did it shift to something else? Now, I don't work for MSR, Ray Martinez, nor do I work for the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. My thing was a neutral person in the middle, seeing the courses that the train is going in that will derail a train and try to fix it. Nothing more, nothing less. Where we start today, and I see that it's really voluminous as far as what some are saying. And as I go through some of the discussion, I'm saying to myself, how did we get there? What is this? So I'll turn it back to you, but there's a question that you have, and maybe let's dive in. But I want to quote the laws of St. Kitts and Nevis that's applicable. You have the Criminal Code of St. Kitts and Nevis, right? Cap 128, and the Prime Minister of St. Kitts is accusing me of Section 380, extortion, right? Prepare the warrant. Prepare the warrant, and let's go from there. The other part that goes into this under the criminal, the penalty of law based on the crime, under chapter 3.717, as far as what the law says as far as penalty, I'm willing to face those penalties if that's what transpired. However, this is not a time zone or a tit for tat. Let's do it right. Serve your documents and let's go from there. But when big men sit in the presence of men and play on the conscience of their own people, just because, and I'm not a part of political arena of a campaign in St. Kitts and Nevis, nor will I ever be. But, you know, it's so ironic that when I sit and I listen to what's been said, and I'm trying to figure out, is this child's play? Was this big men? Or I was sitting in a room with individuals, you know, sometimes they forget I'm a Caribbean man, with individuals who probably wearing G-string. I can't fathom in my head how we have digressed into something of this magnitude for mere honest conversation. And if to the AG, If you sat in a meeting and you heard that and then you're doing your job, then something is wrong. And while I called the AG's office later on, in learning what's been said, and offered to present myself for them to take appropriate action, it was a no, that's not necessary. So what is the conversation still? And what is the statute of limitation on the act of the crime? See, there's an art that comes with this, and I haven't been wrong yet. And now that this is where it's at, hear what I have to say. And my name is Oakland Benta. Hear what I gotta say. You see, as a Caribbean man that understands, I've been places that you guys have never been. I've been amongst where you'll never be able to get among. And at the end of the day, because of what I've done in so many different sections of this universe, continents, where you guys will never be and never get to, I sit in the stages or on the stages that I have. And to think because I'm a Black man sitting in front of you, that's how disrespectful we are. Emancipate yourselves. Because Black people also have the ability to immerse in other places that some of us have not been able to. And I don't brag about it. But here comes this, because there's a Black man who was sitting in front of them. If it was a white man sitting in front of them, they would have never said this today. But because it's a simple Simon sitting and having a conversation, you think that they can run a ludicrous and perform what they perform just because it becomes politics? I don't believe in politics. I don't get myself involved in gimmicks. I don't play an emancipator and then become a liberator where I am actually the slave master. I don't do that. So bring your warrants. Bring them. But I can assure you there won't be none. However, it doesn't mean that something isn't coming from me. You see, I value who I am. And I've never been in this side of discourse. I've been in discourses where I speak about individuals who have committed felonies. I had to get in the chat last night as one was being very, very obnoxious, who have been involved in felonies, and I make sure I track them down. I spend years investigating until I get where I need to get to. And I mentioned the Jeffrey Epstein. I mentioned individuals in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and there will be more that will be following. And everybody who knows me knew that I've been the one person out there where people are saying, don't mind him, he's crazy. There's nobody going to be arrested. Well, so the day is here. Mr. Prime Minister, because I look at you as an eloquent gentleman, not you, but the CBI program is an essential program for your people. Why impugn it? Why damage it? Why create a catastrophic tornado, hurricane, volcano eruption, whatever it is going to be that's coming? Fix it. Some penalties will come, but the country needs to be made whole. We are big men that stand and we speak in a format and in foundation, under foundations and statues, and speak about doing well for our own people. The things that we're going to do to make people's lives better, enhance lives. When I started a meeting, I swore to God that I was sitting someplace else. What a gentleman I thought I was speaking to. What an eloquent person I thought I was speaking to. I didn't realize that later, that this would turn into something different, because I could say that I've spoken to so many other people and you ain't hear this nonsense anywhere else. So where is this? Who is leading who? Who's the person who's the tit for tat that I will get into? I don't tit for tat. I perform. And I came in on the accord, Mr. Marisha, you know that when you spoke to me, I asked certain questions of you and before I engage. And I said to you that before I engage, I must engage some other people before I do that. I remain in the middle of this whole issue. Nothing to do with MSR and the government of the Virgin Islands, government of St. Kitts and Nevis fight. It is the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. This is what I saw if this thing went in the other direction where we sat today. So if you have a question, let's dig into the question so I can pretty much answer those for some of those who have been asking questions for what's to be. But the AG, Mr. Wilkins is his name, I think. Come forward and tell the people that you were the one that asked about money. Explain to the people what the conversation was and what I said. And to the MSR group, where this is assurance because he was worried whether or not, and I guess he had the hindsight that this might have been a discussion, and to make sure in his transmission between him and I, that I make sure don't get MSR involved in any money discussion. That was a text. If they read the text, they'll see clearly what was being said. The text was that he is not under any influence to go after the government and St. Kitts for any funds. Clear and concise in the text. What better document to read than from the person who sent his measurable concerns of assurance that that's not what he's looking for? How we get to all of this? So I am disappointed, really. And my disappointment, as you know, Mr. Marisha, is big men sat in a room and big men spoke. This has never happened in any of the professional meetings that I've had before. And I'm only speaking on it because the Prime Minister himself spoke on it. This never happened to me before. And I keep hearing of high-end meetings and all these other stuff. I didn't know what is high-end when the diaspora is a federation, sovereign nation, that you could have in any office within the United States that I can't have. And I want to assure them you can't sit in those meetings that I sit in many of the areas when it comes to many of the federal agencies. So let's do things right. Funds are owed to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's get the funds marketable to the people so they can get their dividends and start moving the economic sector, the economic development through the funding proceeds. Because the long and short of that is, and it's just so sad to know that those revenues are already identified and where they're at through court orders. So it's just one of those things where you try to avoid. My thought was, yes, it would have come to this, but the funds would have been identified and adjustments would have been made. Whether or not anyone pays a penalty for it is something different, but a country would fall differently where the people survive. My concern and my responsibility is not the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. However, I made it my responsibility to try to defend. And with that, Mr. Martinez of MSR, with what they were going through, to quiet, get rid of this whole issue that has now taken flight throughout the world around as far as what's happening. And it continues into other areas. And I am confident. I am very confident. Just like I was confident with what I was doing in the past, when it came to the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands, where I was the only person really speaking, I am confident even more so now, for where I was able to see this whole issue transcends to have that confidence to know what's coming. But it's sad. And it didn't have, and ladies and gentlemen, understand me. I'm not on this show just because I decided to get up and come and speak on this. You heard what I said last night. However, as I go through and then realize the St. Kitts Nevis rhythms and the other different posting and listen to what's been posted, and as we digest it, and that's me, a group of us, we sit down and digest, not Marisha, not MSR, none of these guys, not a set of us. So then we digress to go to those documents and spend time on it, to learn that the operator of the St. Kitts Nevis is an individual who's in the United States right now, who we know very well. I understand what the purpose was. When you fabricate an AI recording of a person and illustrate it as if this person is speaking this, and that's what people heard numbers. People heard numbers based on the AI that this rhythms produce. This St. Kitts Nevis rhythms group produced. And why would they do that? And why? And of course, my post on the page, when I read to the Prime Minister, because it is his page, it's a campaign page, it's a political page, it was worth being where it's at. And there were individuals who knows me, they were begging me, please, to stay out. However, as many would know, because I didn't leave any stones unturned when I was acting and working and making sure I eradicate criminal behavior activities within the U.S. Virgin Islands. And while being a part of the Virgin Islands Police Department, I want some of those individuals to know, when I was the chief of police, I ran a fugitive task force for the police department that went after individuals who were running from the law. Those information is spread throughout the United States. We never know where people is going to go. And a lot of it came in my direction, and I spent a lot of time on the ground conducting investigations. I want to be very clear with that. Very clear. So some may think that it's easy to just speak and say a certain thing because it's easy to text in a certain manner. I don't play foolishly and do things condescendingly. I'm a fair person. I believe in treating everybody as a human being. I believe in being right, upright, and forthright to make sure that they will deliver the right message to the right people, that people don't condescend one another because. And that is not something that I will tolerate. So to the Prime Minister, instruct your Attorney General to prepare the appropriate documents, and I will avail myself. And I'm serious about that, you know. I will avail myself to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis for further court action, as you will. Mr. Marisha?
Yeah, Brother Benta. I just wanted to clarify that meeting matter. I'm not going to get any deeper into it because, as you're aware, there's an ocean of information in regards to this CBI matter that I was trying to shut down after you gave me the information that you gave me. I tried not to have the country go down this road. But as the Prime Minister said in Parliament, some of those bad actors.
He said it in where? Sorry.
Parliament.
Parliament? Oh,
Yes.
well, that's, go ahead, sorry.
In Parliament, he made this statement. One statement he made that I will support him on is that this CBI situation is going to be one of the hardest things he would ever have to deal with. I accept that. He also made statement about bad actors, but he knew who the bad actors were. He had the information before he was elected because we campaigned on that prison project. He called it a criminal act. We campaign on it. You're going to tell me you campaign on something that should be criminal according to you. You came into office, give the impression that the prison project was shut down. When I check, it's actually in full swing. When you ask questions, you cannot get any answers. You get shut down. I do not know if you can recall, I explained something to you. That meeting that we had on Friday, November 2nd, was supposed to be a meeting with myself and the Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
You came into the play because I wanted to try and resolve whatever might be out there affecting the country. So the idea was for you to have your meeting, and then I would have my meeting afterwards. At the end of that meeting with you, myself, the Prime Minister, and the AG, the Prime Minister asked me to excuse him and the AG for a minute. I told the Prime Minister, well, listen, since we have taken up so much time with this particular meeting, all I need from you is 5 minutes to address the matter of concern of other people. My matter can wait. I just want to bring some attention to you about some other matters that people brought to me. He told me he'll call me back in when he finished with the AG. The AG came out, and I'm just standing at the door, waiting to go back in. Next thing, the secretary came and called somebody else in. There might have been about 10, 12 people ahead of me now, because as I stand there waiting like a jackass, she come and she called everybody else except me. So I decided I'm going to sit and wait. Because the Prime Minister wants to play games. He will understand that I'm capable. And at the end of it, when the lady came out and said, the Prime Minister was asking how many people left, and I told him 2, you and someone else. And you will go in after the other lady. I said, fine. You know, when I got inside that room, that boardroom that we was in, the Prime Minister is telling me he didn't realize I'm still there. This is where, you know, this man is a bullshit artist and he lies. That was one of the first disrespect to me. Okay? And in March of this year, like I said, that was the first time I get to speak to him face to face about the matter of accusing you of being a shakedown or a extortionist or whatever. And when I give him my views on the matter, and he give me his bullshit and whatever, I see it was bullshit, and I say, you know what? I was just at my last with it. I said, Mr. PM, where we are right now, it seems like we're at a crossroad. I didn't use the word crossroad. I'm just talking in general. But I said to him, it appears as though
you have an issue with what I do on a Wednesday evening. My podcast was created to stop things of what I am seeing now. I was locked down in quarantine. The Labour Party benefited from my work. That's not going to change now because Labour is in power. So, the same way you invited me in, feel free to invite me out. Because Mr. Benter, I was prepared at that point to take what do they call it, the axe. Because I made it clear to him, I am not going to spin nothing for you. I'm not going to support around. He said to me, Jeff Roy, nothing like that. You and Mr. Benter is good people, whatever. I said, I just want to get it clear. If you have a problem with me and my podcast, please, the way you invite me in, invite me out. Well, if it was nothing like that, how is it? An invitation to another podcast, our radio station with the opposition deputy leader, mainly Azad Gums. I invite people on this podcast. When I invite them, I expect them to come. So if somebody invites me someplace, I go. I'm capable of handling myself. How that become an issue that I went and speak to Mr. Azad Gums? So you say you didn't want to hear it last night. I think by now you know that I received my separation letter on Monday and I spoke about it publicly. And I accepted it because it's something I've been waiting on for a while. I carried around a lot of weight. But what really happened, Mr. Bent, is amazing that many of these people online that he's now embraced by this government to come after me to attack my character is the same people that was attacking me when I was trying to elect this government and attacking that government. I play a couple of songs earlier with one of the chief battle washer that I had to fight on social media, fight in person to defend this government now. Then it was a political party. There's so much to talk about. I don't need to talk about it. I just want to relax. I'm already out of their place. I am in my bunker in St. Paul's. Just let's go our way and do our business. I am now setting my sight on the next general election, which could happen at any time. Who don't want to believe it is up to them. But I am setting my sight on the next general election that could be due at any time. And you know the funny thing about it, Mr. Benter? The few people online that they have, including civil servants who attack me and who they paying to attack me or whatever. These are people that was going after the government who want me to cuss the government, and I didn't join them. But they are willing now to join with the government to come after me. But
Let me ask this question.
Wait a minute, please. I want to make something clear.
Mm-hmm.
As I walk around Bastille today, you will be amazed at how many people stop me, vehicles stopping me, calling me, shaking my hand, telling me to keep strong. Do not give up. Do not let them sidetrack me from what I am doing because they know I'm telling the truth. The support is there. Young men on the ferry terminal telling me, Marisha, is not a matter of whether you want to run for office, you know. You got to run. You got to represent us. This is the kind of messages that are coming to me. And I just want to read one message from an overseas national. And you could go ahead after this. And this one today, basically, what you would say, lay the groundwork for me to focus and continue on what needs to be done for this country. Because this is a citizen, someone who not looking for anything, who has it all. I cannot call the name because the person did not give me authority to call the name, but I will read the text. My brother, you know, I try to not to engage in these confrontations, particularly between traditional party supporters. However, I understand how difficult it is to fight your political enemies, and even worse, to battle with your political friends. I listened to your program last night, and it went to the level I heard from you before. I just wanted to encourage you to continue to be true to your beliefs and hold on to your principles. Know that they will turn the entire state apparatus against you. They will seek to destroy you utterly and completely. You will hear things you never knew about yourself, but keep your head up and stay focused. In fact, you will see some who you thought were your friends slowly disassociate themselves from you. Others will reach out for selfish political reason. Truth will always prevail. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Benter? That is what I am looking for, the end result of this whole situation. Because what I was trying to avoid, the mechanic already released the brakes and the train is on the track. It's a runaway train. I cannot stop it now. I tried. And what I wanted to say to you is this. My humble apology for getting you involved in this mess. And thanks for your service.
I can see you deep. I can see you deeply scarred. But you're a man with feeling and a man who loves his people. And that's why they said to you when you asked of me to look into this matter. And I took all the precautions to make sure that there was a way to make sure we can save the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to take this black eye away, but taking it to another level. And that was pretty much the intention. But it's unfortunate that to what I'm hearing, and I could tell some of them going back to 2022, that I stayed at your podcast from 8 in the night to 12 at night, as myself was very engaged in a campaign. And I asked the question of you, of the individual you're supporting, with all that's going on that's had already been said, is this going to be any different? And you said yes. It was yourself, Dwyer, and there was another gentleman. We were on every night you were on religiously. And I mean, it was one of the things that lead from 8 to sometimes 12 at night, just going. So I have a right to be able to speak on some of these issues because I was there before the incoming government that's there now sat. I was there to hear the issues, hear the push for good governance. You know, the growth of a nation is contingent on good governance, right? Honest government, honest and imparting on behalf of his people. The strength of one becomes many if the one that has the strength fortify those who are learning as they go along to grow and build an economy. Don't just talk about it, act on it, do what's right by it. I think one of the hardest things for me when I went through looking at the numbers and learning based on when the calculations were done, not from MSR or from any places, but what we got. And realizing based on numbers, numeration, based on what the price of sale of the CBI documents as how it was structured, when I realized that the citizen, each person who was saying Kittitian and Nivision, realizing that they should have been receiving at least 12 to 15,000 US dollars per person. Per person. I don't know what they're giving them now. I don't know how much they're getting at all. It was supposed to be within an area of funding to your own people. So those who are casting aspersions, they are the victims as well and don't even know. So it's okay, right? Each one teach one.
You know something, Mr. Benter?
Mm-hmm.
From last Friday to now, I have seen some stuff that basically messed my head up. Why it's messed my head up is I heard about the documentary in November. I spoke about the documentary that I heard coming at our November 2nd meeting. I remember the AG asking me when it's going to be released. There were so many dates given for the release, November, February, March, whatever. But I had doubts that there was even a documentary because it took so long, right? And then when the shit hit the fan and Mr. Martinez decided to change route and take everything to the US justice system, I said, well, now everything is out of my hands. I cannot even ask to resolve this matter anymore, out of my hands. So some weeks back,
I was online, and Mr. Martinez asked me if I'm willing to come to Washington when Congress is viewing the documentary. I can get a chance to see that. And I said yes, because I want to see if my good up Prime Minister, my government that I just fight to put into power, honestly, continue on the same road that we campaign against. I could not believe it. So I was championing this Prime Minister. Someone put in the thread that with today's technology, why you have to go to Washington. That click. I didn't say nothing to Mr. Martinez. But about 2 weeks ago, he messaged me and asked me if I would like to still see the documentary. I said, why not? I want to know exactly what you're talking about, because I still have my doubts, still supporting the Prime Minister. He said, well, I can make arrangement for you to view it at my lawyer's office in St. Kitts. I said, great. I actually asked him permission for me to bring somebody with me, because the doubts in my mind that our Prime Minister will be caught up to cover up or ignore or whatever it is, whatever they're claiming on him, I stand with him. I wanted somebody there that I could say, okay, Jane was with me, John was with me. And he accepted. He said, no problem. I went and I see that documentary, Mr. Benter. It's about an hour and something, because it's a 2-hour documentary, but he cut it down for me to a shorter version. The shit that I say, I cannot believe.
Of course, you know you can't talk about it, of course.
I'm not talking about it. I'm saying the shit that I saw, I could not believe.
I see the tears in you, you know. You know what it is when you love something or love someone? I see the tears in you. I see the compassion, the same fight in 2022. I see it all coming out of you. And when I sit and I look and I hear and I read and I'm understanding and comprehending, don't let those that are speaking in a certain way derail you. You stay focused, because your whole atmosphere is to fight for a better St. Kitts and Nevis. That's all I heard from you from the time I met you. Don't let no man put asunder in your thunder, my brother. I'm telling you, because they will walk that line, because they sit in a position with a jacket and tie, and the man in the street, the little guys in the street, they look at them as criminals, but the bigger thieves are the one that wears jacket and tie. I say so. That's what I say. They're going to understand who I am sooner than later. So when they cast aspersions and don't know, you leave a roaring lion alone. You don't know how his bite or his roar will come. Let's see how this thunder rolls.
I'll tell you something. The road on the street, even while in care and earlier, a lady asked me for a ride. And she's not even from St. Kitts. She sounds like either Dominican or St. Lucian. And she said, boy, Marisha, we got your back. You got them going by the breath. This government must go. And I said to her, I did not know you listen to my podcast. She said, yes, I listen to you every time. So I'm going to drop this song for her, because I was satisfied the way she explained to me how the people feel on the ground and how they actually feel. So let's take a listen.
Lose. But wait, people jumping up like they win World Cup when they hate on Rick and make a place. All on radio, hear the haters go. Man, they thought they had won the race, but Calypso night we jam them. So back to square one of their problem, that they cannot take the Tiger's crown, despite the ill will to bring him down. Man, they try to blame it on labor, excuses flowing like water. Every battle they bring, I turn round and win. Yeah. Man, I got them going by the breath. Man, they break in a sweat. Hear them, hear them. Cause they can't figure out how to keep this king out of here. I set high standards, explore new horizons, and I know hard work always pays off. Plus my music sexy and my lyrics hefty. Baby, that kind of mix, who need politics? I got them going by the breath. Man, they break in a sweat. Hear them, hear them. Cause they cannot calculate. Their equations don't equate at all. Never easy while on top. Cause some don't want you there on top, on top. You become a target once on top. We hear human history tell us so little we that success will breed jealousy. Losers will minimize, try to trivialize the achievements of you and me. Look how they treat Obama. They made LeBron to be a traitor. But there is one constant that remains. True winners always prevail. So when the critics say I am chosen, it's really a note of concession. Cause they're scratching their head, God we second. Now I got them going by the breath. Man, they break in a sweat. Hear them, hear them. Cause they can't figure out how to keep this king out of here. Now I ball them a googly when I sing about Dougie. Hear them now, Conray's finish this song. But if Douglas listen closely to my criticism, he's dead, never dead, never again. But I got them going by the breath. Man, they break in a sweat. Hear them, hear them. Cause they cannot calculate. Their equations don't equate at all. Wait, 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 wait. Gaiso can't have sugar mass without Gaiso. We love with bacchanal Gaiso, Gaiso. Nothing like final night Gaiso. To all Calypsonians who have their focus wrong by wasting energy on me, things like singing in key for the whole melody will increase points on your score sheet. Don't mind those with some big license to sing Junior Kaiso renditions. Though the taxi man is out, we need a care for him so that he could done with this busting. Now they're looking a female winner, but this year they can check the queen show. Cause how it's looking, Tiger is king. Yeah, boy, you got them going by the breath. Man, they break in a sweat. Hear them, hear them. Cause they can't figure out how to keep this king out of here. I look in an explanation for my 3 angular crowns because labor was not in town. So enough of the drama, this is just the Tiger's era. And I'm gonna jam them again, bang them again. Boy, I got them going by the breath. Man, they break in a sweat. Hear them, hear them. Cause they cannot calculate. Their equations don't equate at all. Way, model.
Yes, sir. I always heard my grandmother said, you must let sleeping dog lie. Mr. Benta, with your approval, I just
Yes.
received some information from Mr. Felipe, MSR Media.
Go ahead and post.
He gave me permission to read and
And
post
post.
the
Yes.
documents.
Mhm.
So I will read the document. I will post when I sign off because my engineer is not physically here with me, so I did not set up for this posting. I would have to do it at the end of the program, but I would read the document and I'll post it at the end of the podcast. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. There's a document here that dated Friday, 22nd March, 2024. It says, for the attention of the Honorable Dr. Terence Jew, Government Headquarters, Bastia, St. Kitts and Nevis. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, as you know, we at MSR Media have always supported your actions and especially to reform to save the CBI program. In July 2023, the people in the Federation need to understand that CBI program was in grave danger before you made these reforms. I believe it's now crucial, I believe it is now crucial that you publish a full financial audit of the CBI for the past decade. As you're aware, MSR Media has investigated and discovered astonishing evidence of international fraud, corruption, and money laundering that has affected the CBI program and deprived the people of the Federation of over US $1.2 billion. As you're also aware, MSR Media has transmitted all the evidence to the US government. As you know, MSR Media is engaged in several legal battles against the individuals and companies that have corrupted the program. These individuals and officials have caused catastrophic damage to the people of the country and to the genuine American investor such as MSR Media. I am happy to report that thanks to the court order MSR Media has obtained in the United States, we were able to subpoena several bank accounts in this matter. We now have in our possession very detailed bank records involving the individuals and companies we suspected to be involved in the fraud and corruption CBI program. In the process of this investigation, we have found troubling transactions involving the chairman of the CIU Board of Governors, Sylvester Anthony, and Foreign Minister Denzel Douglas. I informed the Attorney General 2 days ago because since your government has insisted on good governance and integrity in public life, he should be aware of our findings. I also wanted to formally inform you and the Attorney General that these two individuals will now be added to the lawsuit MSR Media plans to file during the first week of May in the United States. Obviously, these bank transactions and records will form part of our lawsuit, therefore, be in the public domain. Furthermore, a press conference will be held that day for international press and the local media to explain. I am sorry because I know that they are both friends of yours and political allies, but bank transactions simply don't lie, and unfortunately, they confirm prior evidence we obtained. Kind regards, Philip Martinez. That is one of the documents that was sent to me just moments ago, and I was given the green light to read it and to post it. My good people of St. Kitts and Nevis, as I said, I know that this train is on its way to wreck our federation. I do not want this matter to go any further. If you guys keep coming at me, I'm going to come back at you. There are an ocean of information out there that will affect the former administration, this administration, and many citizens of our beloved country who is not even aware that they're a part of this mess. I am calling on all like-minded citizens who want to see good for our country. Stop the nonsense. Call out on your representative. Call on your prime minister to do the right thing. It is not going to end well for our beloved federation. It's too much shit that I saw in that documentary that I cannot speak about.
Drink some water. Drink some water. Let me speak for a little bit. Drink some water.
Go ahead and speak, sir.
Yeah, drink some water. Hearing is coming again. Your tears must be for a purpose. And everybody, as you know, when a man cries, it's not an easy thing for a man, especially for the world to see. But there's something that you said that I'm going to say, that there's no longer the availability of trying. What's coming will come. The actions to be taken will be taken. And at the end of the day, because yes, you love your federation and you love your people and you love everything about it, but this is just completely out of the hands of yourself, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, and MSR and Felipe Martinez. I just want to make sure that that's clear, right? It is no longer in any party's hand. It is in the hand of the Department of Justice, where that will be handled accordingly. So I know what you're saying, because you're hoping that there's still a window that somehow, some way you work something out, that somebody will come to some senses, or some amenable step forward to do what's right. When the police arrest an individual for a murder or any crime in St. Kitts and Nevis, I mean, they would wish that they were never caught, but to face the penalties, right? So what's the difference with this one? There's no difference here. They committed felonious acts, right? Let it be. See, I came with one passion to steer, and when you engage me, I warned you. I said, I am thorough. I am a thorough person. Are you sure? You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I'm thorough. And being thorough means that I'm also fair, right? And when I said to you, Mr. Marisha, this is going on a road, are you sure you want this to continue? And you said, you have always campaigned on good governance. You have always campaigned on making sure that the people are the priority in your home. So when I read some of what some people are saying, don't worry, but that's politics. And politics is where some of them not even getting the benefits that they have to. How many people have to leave St. Kitts and go to Trinidad or some place, other place for medical attention? How many? How many leave there for education purposes? How many leave there because they can't, they're not have not gained gainful employment because there's none? Diversifying of an economy means just that. The funds from the CBI was to build industries, corporations, and all those other things technologically, and create what you call a smart city that individuals can work from in St. Kitts, and you're working in corporations all over the world. You call it a smart city. Where is it? So who do you shed your tears for? Who you shedding your tears for?
The country and the people of this country.
Thank you. I want to make sure I'm clear with that. I mean, my son tonight, they've never seen this in me before. But I'm saying, like I said back then, like somebody says, say in the U.S. Virgin Islands, I didn't come in St. Kitts Affairs without being invited in. And during the campaign in 2022, I was one of those who spoke wholeheartedly based on what you presented to me about these individuals who are running under this banner. And I asked the question, are you sure that they will do right by the people? You said yes. When I went along with it, and you said yes, that they would. Yes, Benta, they would. That's what you said. You said your heart and compassion is it that you'll stick behind them because they will. Why are you crying? Don't do that. Don't do that. For whom you weep.
You must never, ever wake a sleeping tiger. me go out on a rampage. This caused me to remember when I was 8 or 9, I used to provoke my sister every day. Until one morning she said she had enough this time. She retaliated till I still have this car today. So all them people who taunting the King Congress, take this lesson and learn from my mistake. Cause now I understand what my granny really mean when she said you should never wake a tiger from its sleep. So let them people know, never ever wake a sleeping tiger. I said let them people know, the woken tiger will devour. Yes, I understand, you had 3 years in the wilderness, but please do understand, this is my 3 years of royal highness. So let me make a truce, have a drink or two, and let me call it a day. Cause it's the young and strong tiger who does walk away with the prey. So let them people know, and never ever wake a sleeping tiger. Cause if you make that mistake, from my rage you will suffer. Beauty and splendor as a sleeping tiger lays, but a beast of a creature if you only dare to wait. So not because King Congress don't play low and dirty, it don't mean that I'm not capable. But like Job, I'll be patient in the darkest valley, just keep on pushing myself to a higher level. But the time will come when King Congress must respond, and when I'm done with some, I'll be the jungle champion. But now I'll sit back and relax and continue to do my thing, to educate and elevate my people like a true king. But let them people know, what? And never ever wake a sleeping tiger. I said let them people know, the woken tiger will devour. So let me make it clear, I don't need no help from Dougie despite the noise they make. About the new Kaiso committee, tell all and sundry, don't coax me to sing no politics. Cause when the time is right, contender will deal with it. So let them people know, and never ever wake a sleeping tiger. Cause if you make that mistake, boy, from my rage you will suffer. Pure talk and poundness surrounding last year final show. Till some seen real stress in this fierce calypso jungle. For years you singing the same song about judges, and that ain't gonna change for years to come. So just sing your song and let we please the masses. Let we contribute to national debating song. For your day will come when the crown will be your own. But this time around, it's King Congress on the throne. So be mindful and careful not to upset a reigning king. Cause when he stands and he speaks, it's the whole country listening. So let them people know, and never ever wake a sleeping tiger. I said let them people know, the woken tiger will devour. But I feel so sad that it had to come down to this. Last year I was so glad, I thought you had a lot to promise, but don't worry, nobody will have to repeat no cheat, cause they say promise one song alone can cheat people, so let them people know. And never ever wake up sleeping tiger. Cause if you make that mistake, boy, from my rage you will suffer. But let we extend we hand our friendship to everybody, every took moon and sham. I don't care who your father be, just remember, don't provoke no one to anger, cause you just never know the consequences you'll suffer. Let them people know. And never ever wake up sleeping tiger. Cause if you make that mistake, boy, from my rage you will suffer, you will suffer, you will suffer, you will suffer.
Mr. Benter, back to you.
Yes, my brother. I know what I said, I promise. Make sure if you can, post everything that's allowable, post them, because of course, there's nothing to hide. All right, there's no need to hide. They have asked, the government have requested, participants in the show have requested it. Post them. You have my permission with all of my stuff. Post them. I did that the other day with something else that's going on somewhere else. Post them. That's the only way you can educate people so what they like to see for themselves, and rightfully so. I would love to see for myself, and that's the way it's supposed to. I wanted to inform Gav Wilkins and the Prime Minister of the Right. They promised, they say, I will give them instructions how to remove me if necessary or have services done upon me in the United States. And the process is that because the United States and the OECS have a treaty, right, we follow under certain guidelines. So, which they know very well, they need to contact the Department of State and, of course, the Department of Justice. The Department of State is very familiar because, of course, there was a most recent with Marco Rubio the other day. And, of course, the Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office, stays close in sync with a lot of those issues from that office. And make that post haste, right? And I don't want you to be reading a lot of those comments and going home in samba, right? Don't do that, all right? Because at the end of the day, these individuals will continue to live their lives. But those people who are impacted that can't even find a bread to eat tonight, or rice or flour to just fix a decent little meal for their family, think about those people. Don't think about those haves. There's the haves and the have-nots. But the haves who didn't have forgot that they came from someplace. And now that they have, everybody else that don't have no place in their category of the higher echelon. All right? So don't do that. Always remember that you're a God-given sent person. Because when you were running up and down with them campaigning, they didn't see any of those things in you, right? They saw the worthy factor of it. So there's things that come where people may be what they call forgetful, all right? But God got your back, all right? No matter what they come with, God has your back. If I myself was to fall somber or limp because of what people would say and steer my course somewhere else, you lose yourself, your dignity as a man. You lose your own legacy based on the destiny that you created. Don't let nobody take that from you. It's one of those things that happen a lot. And a lot of people walk away because, you know what? It's not my business. Everybody who wants suck salt, suck salt. But you're not saying that. You want people to drink water so they don't drink beverage. You want them to eat proper. You want them to grow properly with the children in the household, become affordable home owners, and be a part of the rock. That's how people want. They don't want the fortunes. They got some want more than that, but the common man, they want to be able to take care of the family, sustain themselves as human beings. Live like human beings and not as pigs or dogs. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for a handout, you know. They're not looking for a hand up. They're looking to become dignified and respected based on the individual vote that each person casts. That one vote made up that bushel, that basket, in multitudes for people to sit where they're sitting. But when you get there, you're drinking champagne and eating caviar, right? So it doesn't matter. There's a little man, there's just somebody. They ain't nobody. And that's some of the language that you will see. And when I sat in the office and I saw how many people came to the office for a meeting with you, and I saw all those people I was very appreciative, right? In my understanding of an open door, that people could come and speak to your leader, and the leader would understand, and so forth, and whatever have you. But it's only later after I've seen, I've learned, and as well as I go through certain things and I realize what's what. I said, God, how can that be? Right? Are you destroying no man? You're not destroying anybody. They destroyed themselves. You didn't tell them to go and stick their hand in the cookie jar and teeth the cookie. You didn't tell them to sneak by and hide accounts in different places in the world out of the purview of the people of the nation they're supposed to be representing based on what the program was created for, to do for the people. You didn't tell them to hide the money in other banks. You didn't tell them to steal. You didn't tell them that. I always remember that. You didn't say go and steal. The Lord didn't say go forth and take from your people in abundance and leave them impoverished. He didn't say that. Be your fellow man, your countryman. And those who are not the countryman or woman attacking stupidness, don't worry about them. The X amount of dollars that they're not receiving, that they're beating you about because it's going to come out and be prevalent that they didn't get, all of a sudden they're going to be in the line before a lot of those other people asking, where mine's? Because it belonged to me. It's going to happen. You call those suckers, all right? Still weaning in a mother's breast. They wean off yet. So don't let nobody put no thunder your thunder, my son. Because at the end of the day, it becomes one thing that many people say, how can this be? And a lot of them commenting, I feel honored to be able to have walked from Monkey Hill and different places in case as a little boy before a lot of them banned.
You see, Brother Benta, let's get something straight, right? The comments and the attacks on me is nothing. My shoulders are broad.
Okay, good.
My concern is for the people who are so brainwashed and blinded, walking around with their eyes wide open shut when they're going to have their representatives, our prime minister telling them, don't believe this, don't look at the evidence, don't look at the documentary, because they want to keep them brainwashed to make them believe that these things are not happening. I am one of those people who wants to know. That is why I challenge the folks that came after me. I tell them my prime minister could not be doing that.
Yes, you did.
My prime minister cannot be covering up that.
Yes, you did.
I challenged them.
Yes, you did. You did. And you didn't challenge behind closed doors. You challenged openly and in public.
Yeah.
You even challenged me.
Yes.
You challenged. You didn't hide it. Tell them you weren't afraid to defend. It was hard because you were ready to bust down people's head because we talking stupidness. You challenged. Tell them how you stood up until now you have nothing to fake. You move this whole platform forward in less than 2 years for another election. You move this platform forward for a group of people that are sitting there. So don't take no prisoners, because the individual of whom was sodomized or victimized are the people who can't speak for themselves, where their voice has been silenced. You become their voice, that your voice resonate in everybody and defend all who can't fight for themselves.
Well, Brother Benta, this podcast was DJ Mauricio St. Kitts Nevis. The struggle is real. That is when it started. After the election, I changed it to DJ Mauricio St. Kitts Nevis. The struggle continues. On Monday, when I got my letter, I changed it to DJ Mauricio St. Kitts Nevis, the people's voice. And that's where I'm at. I will be doing what I can to educate who wants to hear. But you know the funny thing about it, like my son said to one of them, they come here cuss night after night. If they have such an issue with me presenting what I'm presenting, why are you logging on?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you logging on? If I'm chatting nonsense, why you come every night? And I welcome everyone because I want everyone to see for themselves, judge for themselves. While I was employed in the civil service, there are many things I could not say. There are many things I would not do. Until Monday, I must say until Tuesday, the Prime Minister still had my support. He decided to go down a different road. I accepted it. Let the ball drop with me. That is his choice. Where I am concerned, only he could stop this train. I do not know what can be done on the other side, but where I am concerned,
only he can stop this train, because I'll be coming here anytime I see fit that something needs to be addressed. I only have to flip the switch. I have all the time to do it, and I'm not running away. I'm not hiding in any crab hole because I'm not a crab. I'll be standing up and giving it to the people straight. I'm going to drop a song right about now. This one is by my good friend there in Antigua, Brother Emmanuel King Shortshirt. Some years ago, he sent me this song. And it's been in the archive for a while from the former administration. I never think I would have to be playing this song so soon. But let's take a listen.
Antigans, wake up, open up your eyes. Your country needs you. Hope you realize our government is abusing its power and authority, and it is having adverse effects on the whole country. It is time for us to take a stand. After all, this is our native land. That is why I came back to sing, to expose the wicked things they're perpetrating. It is only time for the self-destruct. Greed and power is their TNT. Their purpose in government was for the bucks. They don't really care about this country. All the scheming, conniving plans have caught up with them. They are facing insurmountable problems, and just as sure as the sun will rise, this government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall. If with him you don't agree, you can't progress in your country. Our government has no respect for the business community. No dialogue, they only passing laws indiscreetly, taxing the poor ones who have no money, while their friends live in luxury. As a family and the Prime Minister, and then your own boys think they own Antigua. It is only time for the self-destruct. Greed and power is their TNT. Their purpose in government was for the bucks. They don't really care about this country. All this scheming, conniving plans have caught up with them. They are facing insurmountable problems, and just as sure as the sun will rise, this government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall. Governments squandering this country's revenue, accepting no accountability for the underhand things they just do, ostracizing those who say they are no good, and rewarding their friends some with knighthood. Hurricane mash up me clay and Halcyon, I oppose them, so they come and take back the land. It is only time before they self-destruct. Greed and power is their TNT. Their purpose in government was for the bucks. They don't really care about this country. All the scheming, conniving plans have caught up with them. They are facing insurmountable problems, and just as sure as the sun will rise, this government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall. I am the boss, don't man dare oppose me. Ask God and Marshall, look what I did to Percy. He was standing in the way of my daughter's future, so I demoralized him with the aid of the newspaper. But the tolerate this man's mentality, will my people be battered by duty free? If we don't remove them in the next election, it will be a disaster for the future generation. So while you leave them alone, let them self-destruct. Greed and power is their TNT. Their purpose in government was for the bucks. They don't really care about this country. All the scheming, conniving plans have caught up with them. They are facing insurmountable problems, and just as sure as the sun will rise, this government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall.
Yes, my good people, that is the King Short Shirt there, Brother Emmanuel. Brother Benta, is there any closing comment from your end?
Sure, definitely. I just want to make it emphatically clear. Not being rude, but I'm saying to the Prime Minister of your country and your Attorney General, execute the arrest warrant on my behalf. Don't play with it. If it is that, in fact, what you said occurred, then you have all the legal parameters to act. Don't talk in vain and become seditious. Do what the law mandates for the violation when it comes to me. If you don't, then apologize. And if you don't apologize, then you will be educated even further. You said I violated the law. I'm asking of you, do what's right, because I'm a law-abiding citizen. And I guarantee you that none of you will move. And I said it to all you listeners that's there as well, as reading and whatever have you. I say, you don't have the testicular fortitude to act, because there's nothing to act on. So that will quell the situation. If you have it, serve it on the State Department and the U.S. Department of Justice, based on the treaty. And I will be extradited. As a matter of fact, I pay my own way. Pay my own way. I pay for my own hotel and stay and wait until you come to take me where you need to take me. I will do that. Be man enough. When a man speaks and he sits in an authority, follow through what you say you're going to do. You campaign on something for your people, follow through. But because you decide to come in another direction where you're being disingenuous, that is just so unheard of. So unheard of. So unheard of. So I say, easy remedy. Again, we are bouncing back and forth with so many things I can post on your site. I committed a crime. I say, arrest me. I called the AG's office, like I said, and today nothing. Everybody ran for my phone call. Why? You said this is what I did. And extortion and your codes is a criminal offense. Be a man and stop playing like a little child in a man's world. So, Mr. Marisha, I want to say good night to your people, your audience. I know your heart is heavy and it's filled and it's hurting, but the people who really listens to you and believe in the man that spoke and the man in the mirror, because you're right on the screen and everybody see you. It's not an easy thing to do, to stand up for what you believe, what is right. Sometimes you're the only one in the fight, but the fight ain't far from over. And once the bleeding begins, you're going to see they start calling you to become the doctor or the surgeon to administer. But the administering must be to the people who needs and deserve it or deserving of it. And I'm a little cocky tonight in a certain way. You may sound that way, but I'm pungent because they disrespected me, especially the way I've never been disrespected in my life in an arena of such. So I give them the attitude to finish by providing a warrant for my arrest. So good night to your listening audience, your loving and humble people. I know that your country has, like we said back from 2022, hard working and dedicated people. I wish you Godspeed.
Yeah, Brother Bent, again, I want to thank you for taking the time out to come back this evening after you got the approval to have this conversation with me. I know you could not do it last night without proper approval, and I understood. The online viewers may not have understand the process, but I understood. And I just wanted the people online know, the online viewers, that I know there are some of you there that has been sent as detractors to try and do whatever. That I'm not paying those things any attention. My focus is on this country and its citizens. And because of the lies that I got from what I thought was a friend, a comrade, Prime Minister Joe, I decided to stand up to these people, the external forces, and demand that they show me proof. In every step of the way, I challenged them to show me proof. And they did. And what's amazing is that tonight, some of you online viewers has demanded that I put the evidence on the screen. Mr. Martinez, I didn't even realize was listening to the podcast, and he sent me these documents and said he's authorizing me to put them on the screen. As I explained to him, I cannot do it as I speak because my engine is not, it was not set up for this kind of stuff. It was set up just for what we are doing now. So I will upload them at the end of the program, and I hope you guys can take a good look and a good read. And I hope tonight really put an end to this part of this matter, this segment, because as it is, according to MSR, all documents, all information have been provided to the Department of Justice in the United States. It's out of my hands. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Whatever remedies I can do on my own here in St. Kitts, as I said last night, I am happy to do whatever I can for this country. And I would hope that Prime Minister Joe and his team, now that the cat is out of the bag, as they would say, whoever that you guys are covering up, whoever are the bad actors that have brought the country to its knees, I would hope that you guys actually face up to whatever you have to face up with and save the country the embarrassment. Because it is embarrassing to me. It pains me to see, after all this effort to get rid of what you all dub a corrupt government, that I was a party to elect a government that continues down the same road, and we are where we are today. Not calling you guys corrupt or corruption, but the matters in court will speak for themselves. Brother Benta, I'm going to drop my ad, I'm going to drop my closing song, and I'll be out of here.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Marishall's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishall. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Marishall, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishall. Log on.
Yes, my people, I'm here each and every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. However, I can come at any time with any development that may comes around. But until such time, it's now 8:05. I'm going to drop my closing song, the unofficial anthem of the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. This one is called Arise by the late great King Arrow. Love to everyone, love to country, country above self, every time. Hazel Girl, this is your song. Please pay attention to the lyrics and save that bounce for another day.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Maladministration building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Building a wall so massive or a bridge, don't care how small, as one tends to divide our people, the other unite us all. Unambitious men just cannot be a part of this community. Selfishness, a total lack of interest. No, I said no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. unification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise, the country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, and that's the end of this program, another successful program for tonight. Thursday, 15th May 2025. My good people.